Welcome to the Warframe Weapon Encyclopedia, where today we're checking out the Arum Spinosa. To get the Arum Spinosa, you will have to go and visit the Necralisk on Deimos, because all the parts you will need for it, aside from some gems you get from mining, come from the second tier of Isolation Vault bounties. The Arum Spinosa are a pair of Master Rank 11 war fans. They're actually a rare plant from Deimos that you're using as a weapon that are pretty fast, they have pretty low crit chance, very high status chance, and they do primarily slash damage. But that's not all, because the Arum Spinosa comes with a unique mechanic where whenever you do a heavy attack, you throw out a set of spikes that do quite high damage. It's 2100 at base, which is split into 12 projectiles with the first stage of the heavy attack and 6 projectiles with the second stage of the heavy attack. Now, as far as the setup on the weapon is concerned, you can either go for a light attack setup or a heavy attack setup. I'm going to show you both, and they actually fit into the same polarity setup, which is really cool. So the one we have here is a more standard melee setup, and it focuses on status, slash, and viral. Pretty straightforward. Now, I do like running Prime Fever Strike on this one, even though it sort of balances the weapon more towards viral rather than slash. So it adds some upfront damage, and it kind of balances out the lack of upfront damage you get with Condition Overload. However, if you want more scalability on this, you switch it out for Buzzkill so that you have far more slash than viral. This setup is nice and fast. It has almost no ramp up whatsoever due to us not running Berserker or any combo scaling mods, and while you will have to hit the bigger enemies once or twice to proc some status on them to take advantage of Condition Overload, it will kill most of the smaller enemies in a swipe or two. The heavy attack setup is pretty basic as well, though it's a little bit different to what you normally see because we're not actually scaling crit on the weapon, which is something you usually do with heavy attack builds due to the way crit works on them. This setup is bursty as hell, especially if you're not standing too far away from the enemy and you aim for their head, so you hit with most of your projectiles and you headshot with them too. Now, this isn't the only way you can build for the heavy attack. You can try and brute force slash and viral too, but the problem I personally have with it is that the majority of the damage you get from the projectiles you get with the heavy attack is actually toxin, and only about 30% is slash. So I really don't think it's worth it, and it's better to go for big damage with corrosive and heat. So all in all, the Arum Spinosa is actually a very solid melee weapon that's a lot of fun to use. The only downside here is the lack of crit. It's never going to perform as well as a crit status hybrid, but it still scales pretty well, especially if you go for a min-max setup that just prioritizes DPS over everything else. So if you're at all intrigued by the Arum Spinosa, I would definitely recommend you pick it up. It's not even that difficult to get. It might seem like it, but the drop chance on the parts is actually quite high, and you will have them in no time. So in conclusion, it's not the best thing in the world, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it sits comfortably in the upper end of melee weapons. And that's pretty much it for the video. So as always guys, I thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.